Welcome to the Spin Axis podcast. I'm Erik Barzeski.
I'm Jayson Nickol.
And I'm Tyson Deskins. And hey, while we got you here, make sure you subscribe to this and share it with a friend.
Yeah, this is our rotation episode. We're calling it the rotation episode. We're going to talk about the rotation of the pelvis, the chest, the forearms, the shaft, maybe the earth. I don't know. Whatever else comes up. We'll see.
So many rotations.
Lots of rotations. Not the rotation of the golf ball. That's a result. We're going to leave that.
That'll be a separate episode.
Yeah, that'll be a separate episode. I mean, technically, we're called the Spin Axis, so our whole show is the rotation of the ball episode.
Should kind of be every episode, right?
Right, that's every episode, yeah. So, the pelvis. We turn our pelvis in the backswing.
Hopefully we do, right? Hopefully we turn it enough.
What's enough?
It's a good question.
It's a great question.
I'd like to see between 35 and 45 degrees. I mean, some people are more than that. I got some juniors and some ladies that turn too much. But somewhere in that number, I like that.
What percent do you think you see overturn or underturn?
Wow, that's a good one too, right? I think I see
Full
probably more. Yeah, I think I see more underturn than over, but I definitely see the overturners as well. Percentage wise, man, that's a tough one.
What's the commonality among the overturners?
Young kids and women.
What do they do to overturn? What do you see?
I'll typically see that's the first thing that moves, right? Is their hips move first, arms get way behind them, arms run way long, way over swing. Then they can't get back to the ball.
Stand up a little bit.
Yeah, I see the trail leg just almost straightening or going very, very extended.
For sure.
Right, you see that. You see the tailbone kind of go forward. You see it's often people that are afraid of swaying. And you actually almost need to feel some sway because there has to be some kind of like little bit of shift and your tailbone has to almost go backward away from the target a little bit during the backswing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So 40 degrees back roughly. I found that for a lot of people, feeling a bit of a sway is important just to keep going on that a little bit. I actually do a thing where I'll have someone stand up straight, shove their hips for a righty as far to the right as they almost can to really stretch kind of that right hip socket out, not by straightening their leg. And then their head will kind of dip down and forward toward the target because they're just standing there. And now they look like a parentheses or something. And then they add the turn. And so their hip is pushed out kind of like 45 degrees back and to the right. And their head has, got brought back around to the center. And that feels often to people very linear. It feels very linear and they're not turning. A lot of people that think turn, overturn, in my experience.
Yeah, and we did that when the three of us were at your place in Erie. We did that, and it's crazy how just centered you then look, right? When you're done with your turn.
Yeah, you shove your hips like almost what feels like a foot past the marker where they start, and then when you add the turn in, it kind of swivels back around behind you, but right on that line again. Jayson, what do you think?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like when you threw me on the gears setup there and you're like, all right, do this move where it was like, I felt like I dipped and pushed back. And it's like, all right, that went 1 inch behind while you rotated. And it was like, okay, all right. That's good. That's what you need, right? That's the feel that you need to be able to properly turn and rotate, but not, stand up out of posture.
Yeah, so I feel like for a lot of people, it feels very linear. It feels like I've given people the idea of take your belt buckle through your trail ankle, just push it that way. Just kind of like move it linearly in that direction. And you get rotation because you're moving one side of that equation. But like I see a lot of people, a lot of people whose trail hip stays in place and their front hip swings around it like that's the hinge. Their trail hip is the hinge. And so then they get thrust. Their pelvis is moving toward the golf ball. And it's rotation. And I've seen 60 degrees of rotation in the backswing. Trust me, if you're rotating your pelvis 60 degrees in the backswing, you are not getting 40 degrees open at impact.
Well, that was something, it wasn't it where like Rory rotates like 48 or something like that. He
rotates about 30, low 30s to almost 50 degrees. He's about 30 to about 50.
Right. It was something like, it was like 48 or 50 with his driver, right? And then it's like he has the world's fastest hips. So if he
doesn't though. Like a lot of LPGA Tour players rotate more and so on. A lot of juniors rotate more.
Yeah. But it was like the presence of like, okay, if Rory's opening it 48 degrees and he has really fast hips, and you're Mr. Johnson that doesn't have as fast hips as Rory does, and you're opening it more than him, you're gonna be in trouble, right? And so it's like, okay, can we limit some of that? Again, this is always, it goes on the backside of like what one golfer needs versus another golfer. Some golfers rotate too much. Some golfers don't rotate enough. Like you need to find out what it is. Again, find some way to measure it or videotape it or send it to a coach so they can go like, oh, you're under rotating, you're over rotating. We need this. And then all while it's happening, again, it's like you don't want to sway too much. We need some amount of sway. Don't want to stand up. It's hard. Like golf swing's hard.
Yep.
It's tough.
And we've talked about the pelvis being in the middle of your body affects everything else because it's in the middle. So if it's moving weird, the rest of you is moving weird too and trying to compensate and stay in balance and all kinds of stuff. Tyson?
And it's just hard for people to feel their pelvis while they're swinging. Like it's not a part of our body that we have a lot of sensation. What do you see? What's the commonalities of people who are under rotated with the pelvis?
You see their knees not doing much. Sometimes their trail knee buckles. You see them often, they roll the club a lot, and they get the club back by moving their arms, but they're not using their body to do it. So does that match with what you guys see too?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I don't think any of us see too much like literal actual sway anymore. I think we used to, but I don't see much of that anymore.
I would say it's definitely gotten better.
I still have the odd students. Yeah. But yeah, I would agree. The funny part is, I mean, teaching golf, just like all things goes and like goes this way and then goes that way and goes this way and goes that way. And it was like, all right, let's swing in a box for so long or, in a phone booth or whatever the saying was. And then it limited to the point where now I see students where their driver, they literally just rotate.
Yep.
And then they're over the toppers, bad left paths, down across it. I'm like, well, we need some amount of lateral in there.
Yep.
And they're like, yeah, but I've been told sway is bad. No sway is bad.
Yep.
No sway is bad. On the downswing, 40 at impact also, 40 back, 40 through.
Yeah, I wish I could get there.
Tour average is about 40, 41.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that often feels, again, not rotational. It's often the lead leg pushing the lead butt cheek or hip joint back, right? You get a lot of vertical out of it too, but you get a lot of AP force, if you want to use some force plate terms, pushing it back. It's not just you spinning. It's very much I call it load and explode on the lead leg, right? It flexes a little bit and then pushes. Tiger called it his jump. He would spike his left knee to get an extra 10 or 20 yards or whatever he said. So, okay, we can cover that another time too. But if you've been listening to this podcast, you probably already know the importance of doing things like centering your shot pattern between hazards off the tee, being properly aggressive into the greens, and knowing where and how you both gain and lose shots during your rounds of golf. Shot Pattern is the golf strategy GPS app that allows you to do those things and more in real time on the golf course. Shot Pattern's tournament legal display allows you to quickly overlay your shot dispersion on the hole in front of you to pick smarter targets and shoot lower scores. The practice mode has even more for you to learn and improve. Spin Access listeners can learn more and receive 20% off a 1-year subscription by visiting shotpattern.app/spinaxis. The chest, right? The chest itself, not the shoulders, because the shoulders can protract and retract. So you can often get 10 to 15 degrees more rotation out of your shoulders than your chest. But if you had a rod stuck right through your ribs, sticking out on both sides of your body, your chest should rotate 80 plus, right? And 80's on the low side.
Yeah, the hard part though is and this goes in like sort of sequences, even though it goes backwards, right? It's like club, hands, arms, chest, hips. If you're under rotated with the pelvis, it's really hard to rotate your chest for most golfers, not all of them, but for most golfers.
Yeah. And we want to turn our chest, let's call it 90 degrees, because our chest doesn't turn 90 degrees. Our chest turns 45 degrees, but they're on top of the pelvis that also turns 45 degrees. So do you guys find that you coach people to turn the chest back and kind of drag the hips back kind of with it? Or especially for people that just spin the hips open first or something like that?
Yeah. I often will tell players, just swing the club and feel like you're not turning your hips at all. I don't want you to turn your hips at all. Swing it back and swing it through, and I'll video it, and they're shocked at how much their hips have rotated, right? It's like, it's almost impossible if you're actually turning your torso and you're swinging the club behind you and you're swinging it around you. Like, it's really almost impossible to not turn your hips. and they're always shocked at how much they actually have rotated. So to answer your question, I definitely will suggest that to people. Yes.
Yeah.
Jayson, your kettlebell swings get people's chest moving.
Oh, big time. Yeah, absolutely. It's adding a little bit of weight, right? It's gonna pull you almost open a bit, especially once you get it going back and forth. And then the best part about that is you can really feel like, okay, it's gonna unweight, right? Which is the important part in the golf swing where it goes into transitional phases.
Yeah. So your rib cage on the trail side of your body will literally kind of expand a little bit. I mean, I'm not saying your ribs move an inch apart from each other, but they move a few millimeters apart from each other a little bit. And on the front side of your body during the backswing, they kind of compress a little bit. If you picture a spring and you kind of bend the spring forward and spiral the spring, I use the spiral picture a lot, like a spiral staircase, like the trail side of your body is winding up and around behind you. I have a video of Rory McIlroy when he was working with Butch Harmon. He used a word like, do you feel it kind of spiral up? So I'll often talk to people, they're not the floating ribs, but they're the ribs that connect with cartilage to your sternum, where they start to go out like away from your sternum. I tell people to picture a spot there and wind it up and around behind them that way, right? And just kind of make it go up, because otherwise you do get like the chest to sway back to the right because they stay in their flexion. They stay in their forward flexion over their hips. So the spiraling up feeling can help with people. Gets you a little bit of extension of your spine, which we need during the swing as well. But that kind of covers the chest on the backswing anyway. We'll save the downswing stuff for another time because we could talk about tilts and turns and all that stuff a bunch. Okay, that would be a whole episode of all of it in itself.
That'd be a good episode.
It would be.
That'd be a good one. Forearms. The forearms are kind of silly, right? There's the old school golf drill of like, put the club on your right shoulder or your trail shoulder, turn, push it up away from you. In that case, your forearms haven't actually gone very far around you. They haven't rotated much to the right. How much do you think the forearms rotate in a decent golf swing to the player's trail side, that direction? For a righty, it would be like clockwise.
Not a lot.
I have an answer, but
yeah. Say on a clock, 3, maybe not even 3, 2.
2 what?
I got 2 on a clock face.
Oh, that'd be a lot. That's 60 degrees.
Yeah, that's such a tough one. I mean, I don't think it's much. I don't think it's nearly as much as it looks like on a video because the camera
like
just is stable.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. If 12 o'clock's upright, your thumb's like pointing up.
Yeah.
For my finger. So like 2 o'clock.
What kind of clocks do you have? Are you talking about a 24-hour clock? Do you have 24 around this thing? You can't see it on the video when you're listening to the podcast, but Jayson moved his thumb like 5 degrees. I don't know what clock he's got. Anyway, about 30 degrees. So about 1 o'clock.
Okay.
Yeah, so about 30 degrees. That's about how much. And some of it is because your trail elbow bends, but your lead elbow stays the same. So that kind of pulls the club a little bit toward your trail side a little bit and can pull your chest a little bit that way. So about 30 degrees. But I want to talk more about the rotation on the downswing, because one of the things we probably all see from a lot of people is they rotate it for a righty counterclockwise way too early. It pitches the club shaft out steeper. And if we rotated it clockwise during the downswing, which is a weird move to feel because you're literally moving the club away from the ball as it moves away from the target, but it's an important move. And that's where most of shallowing comes in. If you want to shallow the club, you need to take your thumb, it's pointing up at like 1 o'clock, and you need to almost rotate it toward 2 o'clock. It might not reach 2 o'clock. It might be at 7 o'clock on Jayson's clock. I don't know. But you need to rotate it toward 2 o'clock a little bit. Okay. And then the club is behind your butt. It's what it feels like. Right. And then the rotation brings it out to the ball. The rotation of your body.
That's right. And like that's in transition.
Yes.
Right? They're rotating that in transition, which feels away from the golf ball or backwards, which is why it's just so weird for people. They're so used
That's a
to
weird thing.
That's a weird thing. They're so used to rotating them at the golf ball from the
'cause
top.
it helps close the club face for most of them.
Yep.
Yeah. That's a weird one.
For sure. It's a weird one. And
the more you rotate it, like if you can rotate your thumbs to point kind of at 3 o'clock on a normal clock, the club is almost, if you bring the club, your hands down to your waist, the club is pointing almost like directly away from the golf ball. And then you need so much rotation to bring it out to the golf ball that you get tons of shaft lean. I mean, so much shaft lean, the club is literally a foot in the air because it can't reach the ground anymore because you've had to rotate so far to get the club anywhere near the golf ball. It's way too much, but it proves the point that the more you kind of shallow the club, the more actual shaft lean you can kind of get.
And the more of that, what you were talking about earlier with that lead foot, that AP, the more you can push that to kick it out and around, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, because at that point, you got to put the force back into the side of the handle to bring it back into the golf ball.
So the last one we have here is the shaft. During the backswing, do you guys feel that you teach people to rotate the shaft much at all around the shaft, the axis of the shaft?
I'll tell you, I see so many people who just roll the club wide open. I teach them to counter rotate it a lot, as a feel, ultimately to try to get it to not rotate very much at all.
Yeah. Do you see more people that roll it open or the people that like immediately extend their trail wrist and take the club back shut?
I definitely see a lot of that too, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. More open.
So are we in agreement that there's not much rotation during the backswing around the shaft?
Ideally, no.
No, it's very, very minimal, but it needs to happen too. That's the like I have one student where he was literally not opening the face at all. Like, so if you imagine, like, is he rotating? No, he's actually not rotating it at all. I mean, you might be rotating the wrong way. And he goes from it being like square at address to like super close to the top. And then he wonders why he's like hitting low pulls.
Yeah. I think oftentimes the rotating of the forearms almost rotates the shaft to be where the face feels open. So I don't find myself having to teach people to twist the shaft much on the backswing. Although, unless of course they roll it way open or twist it way shut or do some stuff, then obviously we do the opposite feel. But I don't find myself teaching people to twist it much in the backswing. What's the purpose of twisting it in the downswing?
Well, that starts closing the club face. So if you're going to roll the forearms one way, that's going to open the club face, you need to apply a force that's going to like neutralize that. So as you work down, the club's still coming on a good plane, the club head's coming back, from behind the hands, but the face isn't wide open. And that, again, this is the hard part. It's like, why do I need to do that? Well, because you don't want to be steep and closed.
If you go to setup and keep your wrist conditions as they are and just shove the hands forward, the face gets open, right? Everyone agrees with that. If you go to setup and just twist, palmar flex your lead wrist, the face just closes and the shaft stays kind of vertical. If you do those two together, if you shove the face or the handle forward while keeping the face square, your left wrist goes into palmar flexion and you've actually twisted the club a little bit. So we have to twist the grip, twist the shaft around itself so we get shaft lean while maintaining a square face. Square being whatever impact condition, slightly open, slightly closed, whatever you need to deliver to play the shot shape that you want.
Yeah, and I'll hear many people sort of tell me, well, I didn't think that you were supposed to twist the club. People who aren't doing that, who are just hanging on for dear life all the way through, leaving the face wide open, they're doing that because they think the other is bad.
Well, they might be shoving the handle forward too, thinking like, I need shaft lean, so that's how I'll do it. But then they can't square the face up because they're just shoving the hands forward. They need to feel that twist of the shaft. That's one of the most fun lessons to give because you have a guy that's like, I hit these weak pulls and these weak little cuts. I'm like, okay, we're going to twist the grip.
Yep.
The whole downswing. And they suddenly start hitting like 1.42 smash factor 7 irons that just duck hook off the planet. And they're like, ha, the ball's drawing. Look at that. It's a hook. I'm like, it's hooking, but like, sure, yeah. Let's turn that dial back a little bit to play golf. But like, sure, yeah. If you've never seen the ball go left in your life.
That's right. I've never
hit 50 of those in a row. You didn't hit a single ball right.
I've never hit that shot.
They're happy. They leave and they're like, I know how to make the ball go left now. I'm like, yes, you do.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, hey, that's
awesome.
That's rotation in a nutshell. Like that's just blowing through it super fast. If you have any questions specifically about any of this rotation stuff, message us on any of the social platforms. They are what, Jayson?
Online is thespinaxis.com, and then you can find us on all social medias at the Spin Axis.
Yeah, so message us, reach out, let us know if you want us to drill down on any one of those whirlwind of things that we went through, and we will do that. Thanks for listening.